Hi, and welcome to DiPaolo Turkeys, a business that my father started in 1948, growing turkeys on this very property. What I'm about to show you in the next 10 to 15 minutes is a brief overview of what goes into growing a turkey in the state of New Jersey. I learned at a very early age, farming is a way of life and not just a job. A perfect example of what I learned is the folks to the left and to the right and behind me. These are the individuals that create the team at DiPaolo Turkey Farms. Without them, this business would not be what it is today. I've had the absolute pleasure of going through 60% of a lifetime doing what I still do today. Because of these people that create the happiness in my life and the success of the business. Again, without them, I would not have the life that I have. So I can't thank them enough. I am a second generation turkey farmer in this state. I am surrounded by my wife and my daughter, who is also a tremendous help to this business. She is a third generation. And we have these kids that who knows what can happen, but possibly they can be the fourth generation. A special thank you to the woman in my life that has been with me for 40 years, gone through some real challenges, but ultimately we prevailed. The business is alive and well. And again, I can't thank these people around me enough. We are about to show you more of this business and give you an idea what goes into the process to grow a turkey. I have been involved in the business since I graduated high school in 1970. These barns that you are viewing were constructed between 1948 and 1950. They still stand. My father started here with the very first barn and added barns to them. We bring in these turkeys 24 hours old, and it is a team effort with the individuals that spend a lot of time on this farm, as well as my family. And this is how it all starts for a baby turkey. They're placed in these rings, these large circles, around a main heat source, as well as plenty of clean water for them to drink and feed for them to eat. Also, this is very important. It's a clean, dry bedding. They will spend anywhere from 3 to 4 days in these large circles. These turkeys are about 24 hours old. Some choose to go underneath the heat. When they do get tired, they want to sleep. When they care to eat, they walk over to the feeders and help themselves to whatever food they want, as well as the water source. And it is very important also to have clean air flowing through here, which we have fans circulating the air. These are all critical ingredients to the health of the turkeys. These turkeys will have a tendency to crowd into one another and possibly suffocate each other. So we have to be vigilant to make sure that that doesn't happen. When we see turkeys starting to get too close to one another because of their new environment, we are there to herd them off, scare them, if you will, to prevent them from harming themselves. Now, as we spoke earlier, the different processes on raising these turkeys, I initially mentioned to you when they first came in, they spent 3 to 4 days in the rings. After that, we open up those rings so they have full access to what is called the brooding barn. Now, the next process that I'm going to introduce you to is they're going to be moved into one of our larger barns, and we have several of them, called a grow-out barn. And in this barn, we have an automated feed system. This in the industry is known as a hopper. It is fed by feed that comes down this chute from the outside of the barn that we will get to momentarily. And as the feed line calls for feed for these turkeys, as they eat it, the feed is automatically brought in from the outside of the barn to the inside, falls down to this hopper. This particular barn has 2 sets of feed lines and 2 hoppers, and the feed is transported via a giant screw, or an auger as it's called, and it is delivered into these pans below, and it stretches out about 150 feet through the barn. This barn is about 190 feet long, and as you could see, we have 2 of these lines to house the turkeys that are going to be moved into this barn for the duration. Now, on this particular day, we have begun the process of moving the turkeys from the brooding barn into one of our grow-out barns. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, throughout the entire process, it is critical that we maintain clean drinking water, clean feed, and clean bedding. Extremely critical in the process. And to say once again the importance of maintaining a very clean environment for these turkeys, from the water that they drink, the food that they eat, and the bedding that they walk on, which is a wood shavings, has to be kept dry and clean at all times. Now, moving to the outside of the barn pertaining to the feed source. When the feed is delivered to this particular farm with large trucks, the feed is placed in a bin, as you see here. And when the inside lines call for the feed, there is an auger, or a screw again, that transports the feed from the bottom of the bin right up that tube that you see into those hoppers that we discussed earlier. And this is the way the feed is taken from the outside of the barn after the bins are filled via the truck to the inside of the barns where the turkeys consume the feed. Now, as the feed source changes for these turkeys when they are day old up until about 2 weeks of age, so does the water source. If you recall, they were drinking when they were day old out of what we call bell drinkers. The water cascades down from the side of those red drinkers into troughs, and the turkeys drink from that. As they get older and we move these turkeys to the grow-out barns, the watering source is on the outside of the barn. It prevents any type of floods that may occur, and the turkeys have a source of water which stretches in several areas on both sides of these barns, so they have plenty of water to drink. And these are somewhat protective barriers. Should there be any type of predators around here, the turkeys will stick their heads right through these holes to drink from the watering trough. When they do that, there could be an occasional predator that can try to harm them. So this is a protective barrier so that that cannot happen. What you're going to see now is the offloading of the turkey bedding for the barns that we had talked about earlier in this video, and the importance of it. So we are unloading the bales of shavings that come in, and in a short while you will see the feed being dispersed into the bins. Now, this is delivery of the feed to the bins that we had also spoke about earlier. This is a weekly occurrence, and it's a very important step. We've been with this particular feed company for 40 years. It's a long time. They have provided us with the quality that help us produce the turkey that we produce, and we have it down to a science. It comes in once a week to deliver the tonnage that we need to feed these turkeys. As you can see, the process has evolved quite nicely. As with any business, it evolves with the changing demands for people. We at one time, through the 70s and 80s, were growing turkeys all over the state of New Jersey. We have now focused, we still grow a lot of turkeys. We manufacture meat products made from turkey. They are distributed locally here as well in the Green Market program in New York City. I hope you've enjoyed this brief film on what it's like to grow a turkey from day one until the end, and what it's also like to live on a farm in the state of New Jersey. Thank you.